Good morning again, friends. Welcome to Jeannie's Journey. I just finished up Numbers 3. I just finished up Numbers 3, and I will start on the next Numbers the next day or two. So, here is Numbers 3. If I can get my papers in order. Here we go. 13. Okay. This, and all right. But all right, so Numbers 3 shifts from, in the previous chapter, from the 12 tribes of Israel, where they were going to be, to the spiritual organization of the tribe of Levi. So God sets up the priesthood, he counts the Levites, and details their specific duties surrounding the tabernacle. So in verses 1 through 4, it talks about the lineage of the family line of Aaron. So the sons of Aaron are Nadab, Abihu, and Eleazar, and Ithamar. Nadab and Abihu died in Leviticus 10, 1 and 2 because they offered unauthorized fire in the desert of Sinai, which leaves the younger two to serve as priests under their father, which is Eleazar and Ithamar. In ancient Israel, your genealogy was your legal identity. For priesthood, it was everything. You couldn't just simply volunteer. You had to prove your ancestry, and God established ministry as a divine calling for the Levites, specifically for Aaron and his descendants. Jesus' genealogy is meticulously traced in the New Testament to legally prove his right to the throne of David. Jesus is the perfect high priest and eternal. Today, when we, I know I've done it in Ancestry DNA, and I remember some of the stories my mom told and my dad told. It can reveal our cultures, traditions, our medical history, which is important as well, and the personal stories that shape you and your family's life, their circumstances, what has happened. Verses 5 through 10, the Levites and their purpose. God tells Moses to bring the tribe of Levi forward and to be given to Aaron and his sons to perform duties for him. They were strictly defined as a ministry of supportive services. So they were not, all the Levites were not priests, but every person had a role. And no matter the role, no matter how small it seems to be, how seen or unseen it is, all of that's important to God. And God recognizes every single role. It is for his kingdom and is meticulously designed for you by God. God has given the church to Jesus to serve him and advance his kingdom. So it doesn't matter what you do for God's kingdom. It could be, I don't know, cutting the grass. It could be running the sound system. It could be in the worship band. It could be just taking up the offerings. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be just praying for people. It doesn't matter what it is. God designed that role for you. So in verses 11 through 13, the Levites for the firstborn. This is the substitution. God claims the tribe of Levi on the night of Passover. Oh, let me back up. God claims the tribe of Levi. On the night of Passover in Egypt, God struck down the firstborn and the Israelites who put the blood on the doors with the hyssop branch. God said all firstborn males, human or animal, belong to him. Here, in this passage, in this chapter, God takes the Levites to be his personal possession instead of the firstborn of Israel. So for all the other clans and tribes. And so he tells Moses, take this census. And when Moses is done with this census, he found that there are 273 extra Israelites because it's a life for life. Salvation isn't free. So there's always a cost for salvation. Every Israelite was reminded that their firstborn was alive because a Levite stepped into his place to serve God continually, or because a price of silver had been paid. So with that 273 extra, God told them, collect 5 shekels for each person and give it to Aaron and his sons. We are all spiritually sentenced to death by our sin, but Jesus came as our perfect substitute. He didn't pay with shekels. He paid with his life. Verses 14 through 39. The males that Moses counted, they had to be at least 1 month or older. And from my Heart Dive podcast that I watch, they were talking about the significance of the child being 1 month or older, and basically it was a major milestone to if the baby survived to be 1 month old, because there weren't all this medical technology that we have today, then that was a major milestone. Then if that baby survived 1, then more than likely they were gonna grow up to be an adult. It was a practical threshold to indicate that the child would live to adulthood. It also made it easier to pair the non-Levite firstborns, because remember, the firstborns belong to God, with the Levites. So ensuring a life for life substitution required by God. God is a redeemer. So remember the 273 extra Israelites? He's a redeemer. Pay 5 shekels. And will always make a way for his people. Always make a way for his people. Instead of destroying them, he don't want to destroy people. So, I made me a little chart, because again, I don't have a printer. I would have printed it out. So this is the Levitical census and specific duties for each clan of the Levites. So we have the Gershonites. Those were the ones positioned on the west side of the tabernacle. And hold on just a second. I think I might be saying something wrong. It just popped in my head. West side of the tabernacle. Sorry. Their duties, because everything was mobile, so their duties were to be in charge of and carry the fabrics, the curtains, the coverings, the screens, and the hangings. The Kohathites, they were positioned on the south side. They were in charge of the furniture, the ark itself, the table, the lampstand, the altars, and the vessels. Then we have the Merarites. They're positioned on the north side of the tabernacle. They were responsible for the framework, like the frames, bars, pillars, bases, pegs, and cords. And then we have Moses and Aaron on the east side. On the video before or two, the east side is where the sun rises. So they are on the morning side. Our mercies are new every morning. They were the chief overseer, and they guarded the entrance to the sanctuary. God's house, everything that God says, is very meticulous. It's very structured. It's very ordered. He ensures nothing is lost, nothing is broken, and no one is confused about what they're supposed to be doing. So, my reflection for this chapter is that, looking back, hindsight 2020, I can clearly see that God has redeemed my deepest pains. Rob's death, I don't want to use names. I'll use Rob's. Rob's death, my son's disappearance, and my other son's journey with cancer has stretched my faith in ways I could have never imagined. But God didn't waste those pains. Instead of allowing bitterness to take root, He drew me closer to Him. He has healed places in my heart that only He can do. Just as the Levites belong to God, my life belongs to Him as well. Not because I earned it, but because Jesus redeemed me. He took what the enemy meant to kill, steal, and destroy me, and used it to strengthen my faith, deepen my dependence on Him, and to serve others with love, compassion, and empathy. And I can trust that God will continue to redeem every chapter of my life for His glory. Peace and blessings. I love you. Bye.